Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Bowling University studio from the International Bowling Campus here in Arlington, Texas. This is the Profit Break. If you're joining us for the first time, we're glad you're here. Give us 15 minutes, and you're going to be well on your way to not only improving yourself, but your profitability. Now, social media and the technology that goes with it can be very confusing and overwhelming for many of us as small business owners. We don't have the luxury of a marketing team and often really don't know where to start. All hope is not lost. Help is on the way. On today's show, we're going to visit with Ms. Tami Wloch. For over 15 years, she has provided marketing services for companies, including expertise in social media. Now, she serves on advisory panels for both Facebook and LinkedIn, where she helps shape future social media by evaluating and beta testing future services, which is very cool. Now, today, Tami's going to be sharing some great digital marketing tips that really any small business can use. So welcome, Tami. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Now, we know you're going to be with us in a few months at our Bowl Expo in Orlando. Excited to have you with us, but let's dive in a little bit about some tips that we can give our viewers today. So obviously, you've got a lot of social media experience. Where did you get that from? How did you learn so much about this topic?
Well, I've been doing social media for quite a long time. I think the biggest change was about 5 years ago. I joined a new agency, and they hadn't had a social media department before, so I was able to just build the team that I wanted to build. And interestingly enough, it actually kind of coincided with when the major social platforms, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, they all started to monetize. And what that means is that up to that point, everything you posted on your pages were seen by all of your followers. And then there was a drastic change where they wanted everyone to start paying for marketing. And so then when you post, and that continues to now, only about 1% of your followers ever see what you post. So the demand for social media marketing with paid ads kind of went through the roof. And so we've been specializing in that. And about a year after that, I was approached by both Facebook corporate and LinkedIn corporate and said they really liked what we were doing, how we were doing it. And so they invited me to be on advisory panels, which are great because I have a team at both corporates that tell us continually what's working, what isn't working, and they watch our campaigns and make sure for our clients that we're getting the lowest cost per click and the biggest audience. So we have this ongoing training still, which is really my background now.
Good. Well, that as the world has changed, and you mentioned that in this environment, it really is pay to play almost, and not all your stuff gets seen. For our members, our bowling centers, why is it important for them to have a social media presence? Why even be in the space?
Yeah, because, our world really revolves around social. Before the pandemic, it was really building, but since the pandemic, people have really moved the majority of their shopping and discovering places to the online market. Right now, people usually look up a company 8 to 12 times online before they're ready to either go to an establishment or purchase a product. So if you aren't there at all, which is terrible, then they would likely go to your competitor if they have a lot of information up. So I really help our clients make sure that they have that Facebook page and they post every so often, and then the subsequent pages, if they can get them up as well. But there are some really easy ways to maintain your social without driving yourself crazy or having to hire a marketing team.
Yeah, that's fascinating, 8 to 12 times. So even though you might have a physical plant, or in this case, our recreation centers, if you're not in the social space, it really is out of sight, out of mind in doing that. So as you think about some of the folks that you work with in small businesses, what are some of the most common mistakes that you see that maybe might help our viewers today?
I think one of the most common mistakes is that people will go in and, the owner of a center will set up a Facebook page and they get it running, and then they're not online for a while, and then they go back on and they can't remember their password. And now they're not only locked out of their personal page, but no one can get to the business page. And I see this a lot, and I can tell you it's impossible to reach these corporate offices. So we help quite a few business owners get back onto their page. The easiest way to do this is just set up that page so that there's someone else as an admin. And that's the first thing we do whenever we work with a client is say you have to have 2 admins because it is so common. And now if you've done a lot of work and you have this great page and you've got a bunch of followers, and then you can't get to it, that can really be disastrous. So that's one of the most common mistakes. And the second most common mistake is thinking that everything you post is going out to all of your followers. So, even if you have 200 followers, you think, well, I'm posting, 200 people are seeing that twice a week, but they're not. And so it's really important to also put a little bit of money behind the things that you post. And a little money on Facebook can go a long way.
Yeah, two great tips for everybody today. So if we back up a second and talk about all the platforms that are out there, right? I mean, there's so much when you think about social media, and even the big ones, the Facebook, the Twitter, the TikTok, and on and on and on. If you, as small business, if you had to pick one, what's the most important platform for a bowling center and why?
I would say absolutely for Bowling Center, it's Facebook. And it's just because of the audience that's on Facebook. Parents are the biggest amount of people on Facebook, slightly behind people 45 and older. So if you're trying to, and even parents, you're trying to get them in leagues, that's the right age for you. You can reach both men and women. So Facebook is great. Snapchat also is great, but the downside of Snapchat is that you have to post with a video. And I know video is kind of intimidating to people, but that's also a great place to post. And just to kind of quickly give people an idea, right now, Twitter is about 70% men, ages 18 to about 35. So if that's your target market, that's a great place to be. TikTok, if you want to talk to kids 13 to 18, that's pretty much the only platform that you can reach them on right now successfully with paid ads. So it kind of gives everybody an idea of, where they should be posting.
But for those of us with limited time and resources, it sounds like, Facebook is the 800-pound gorilla, and that's where we can focus some effort and get some good return there.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. So, okay, let's focus on Facebook for a moment. So if I'm a bowling center, how many times a month, what kind of frequency should I be posting on Facebook?
I think that's one thing that's really misunderstood, because I know there's a lot of information out there that says you have to post every day. And that's just really overwhelming for people, especially, business owners with a center. There's a lot going on. And, I think a lot of people think, well, if I can't post every day, I'm just not going to bother. It's not necessary. If you post once every other week, that is enough activity on your page that when people go there to find out about you, they're like, oh, yeah, this is an active center. Look, they've got this league going. They've got classes for kids. They have a party room. So when people go, they just want to be able to scroll down and see a few things about you. So if you're doing it once every other week, that's perfectly fine. I think that takes a lot of pressure off of people when they get involved for the first time on Facebook.
Good tip there. So I'm glad that you said Facebook. It's certainly something here at the university we teach to and tell people really fish where the fish are at and focus your efforts on that. But here's one of the trends that I see, and why we have you with us as our expert. I really would love your input. One of the trends that we see is that as small business operators, that their Facebook page becomes their de facto website because of all the barriers of IT and technology. And is that a good thing or a bad thing? I mean, what are your thoughts on, having that Facebook page become kind of that de facto website?
Yeah, that's not a good idea. And I think it really has to go with how people want to look you up and they want to see you online. Places that do not have a website, even if they do have a Facebook presence, you're definitely going to see a decline in the amount of clients that you could be having in the door. And the nice thing is right now is that technology has come so far that you can even set up a website on Weebly, or even on, there's a couple other free sites that are out there that it's really quick. You can build a website, honestly, in about an hour, and it has your basic information that you need in there. It'll, fill in photos for you. But it's really, really important for you to have a website that at least has the basic information. Where are you? What are your hours? What do you offer people? And what's your basic pricing? And you can go online, and that's something, honestly, you could probably hire any 20-year-old to do, is to set up, basic free Weebly website. And it definitely serves its purpose for a very small amount of effort.
Yeah, well, thank you for saying that. And I want to just reiterate that, because it's something that we teach too, is that, and I hope everybody heard that's with us today, do not let your Facebook page become your website. They're two very different strategies, two very different tactics. Yep. It's almost like parenting, Tami. When the parent says it, it doesn't stick, but when an outside person says it, hopefully it sticks. You're an expert. I want the audience to hear that today. Do not let Facebook become your website. So let's talk a couple of questions about website while we have you today. As you visit with small businesses, you mentioned some of the things they should have, but what kind of things do you see missing from a website for those that are in that space?
Yeah, I think one of the things that people sometimes miss is they'll have a contact page and they'll have all their information on there. But really, you should have your contact information on every page. And the sad fact is that people right now have an average attention span online of 3 seconds. So wherever they happen to land on your website, they won't go searching around for the information that they need. So let's say they're interested in a party and they click to your party page and they're like, great, this sounds fantastic. How do I reach them to set this up? And they can't find it. Or even if they have to, sad as it seems, just click to the contact page, people get frustrated very quickly and they leave your site. So I think those basics of where you are located and how to reach you in multiple forms, give them an email, give them a phone number, and different things like that, because people have a very particular way that they like to reach out to people. Some people like to send that email, and some people want to talk to somebody one-on-one. So make sure that contact information is on every single page.
Good. Another great tip, Tami. Thank you. We've got time for one more question today. We'll sneak in one more website question. You talked about the importance of having that contact information. How often should a bowling center update their website?
So this question can kind of go one of two ways. So if in an optimal world, if you have someone hired that works on your marketing or occasionally takes over on your web page. Right now, what happens is web crawlers, which is when you go on to Google and you type in bowling centers near me, the web crawlers go out and look for that information to deliver it to the person doing the search. If your information is more than a month old on your website, the web crawlers kind of lose interest because they think, oh, this is a stale site, and they will show them things that have more activity on them. So ideally, at least once a month, if you can add some new information to your website or change some information on your website, that will get you coming up more to the top of searches, which is really important because I think people realize now that if you go on and you search for something, most people don't go back more than 2 pages. And if your site gets really stale, like let's say you hired somebody, you've got a gorgeous site, but it was built even a year ago, you're not going to get that seen by a whole lot of people. So if you can go in and change something once a month or add something, that's always a good way to go. During my class, I'm going to cover some other really easy ways that you can make changes to your website to keep it fresh. And also I'm going to go over some easy ways of what you can post on Facebook and your website. I'll give you a list so that people just write them very quickly, and then you post. I'll give that whole outline out to make that easier also. Good.
Well, thank you for joining us, Tami. We are excited to have you with us in Orlando in just a few short weeks.
Yes. Thank you for having me. I really look forward to everyone who attends. I think they'll learn a lot, and they'll be able to take it away, do it all on their own.
Awesome. Well, hey, everyone, Tami has given us some great tips on how to leverage social media and keep your business top of mind. So if you're ready to learn more about the role of social media should play in your business, don't miss Tami's Bowl Expo session this June in Orlando. You're not going to want to miss it. Now, if you're ready to start improving your profitability, you can reach us anytime at education@bpa.com. So as we wrap up another edition of The Profit Break, remember, when your focus is on growing people, people will grow your business. Now, this episode, as well as all our previous Profit Break episodes, are available 24/7 for you and your team at bowlinuniversity.net. Plus, new episodes are available every month, so mark your calendar, watch your email, and join us on Facebook to hear about the latest episodes. Until then, I'm Bart Berger, and remember, do for one what you wish you could do for everyone. We'll see you next time.